आप हिंदी में बोलते थे, नहीं तो मैं आपको ही देती थी। हिंदी में बोलूँगी ना सब, इसलिए टॉप टाइम्स का। और मेरे साथ में भी बैठे रहे तो मुझे सपोर्ट रहता। Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
Ma'am,
Good
are you
afternoon.
comfortable? Are you comfortable with your place, with your devices? I think you are muted.
Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. मैडम को बोला था 1 मिनट ज्वाइन करके उनको स्वागत बोलना था। मैंने तो बोला ना मैडम को क्या मैम within 2 minutes just calling to principal. जल्दी स्वागत बोल देना। नहीं, मैंने बंद रखा। रहने दो ना। आपको किया उसके पहले मैडम को किया। रहने दो क्योंकि 1 बजे का टाइम सवा हो रहा है। हाँ बोला मैंने, ग्रुप में डालने को बोला। पांडे सर हैं? ऐसा नहीं चलता ना मैडम। नहीं, मैं बोल चुकी हूँ मैडम को। नहीं रहने दो आप, मैं स्टार्ट कर दूँगी। नहीं बैठ जाओ सर, ज्वाइन करो ना 2 मिनट के लिए। हाँ 2 मिनट ज्वाइन करके स्वागत तो बोल दो। मैंने प्रिंसिपल को भी बोला। इधर आ जाओ सर, आओ ना जल्दी। रहने दो मैडम, ये मैडम को बार बार कितने बार बोलना है। दिख रहा सब इसमें मेरे गुस्सा। तो मैम रहने दो, रहने दो मैडम। मैडम रहने दो, मैं शुरू कर रही, आप कुछ बोलना मत। ओके so once again good afternoon everyone. Ma'am, can we proceed? Principal madam has some meeting. Can we start the session, madam?
Yes, we can start.
Yes,
We can start.
yes, thank you so much. So once again welcome you in this webinar. So first of all, my greatest salutation to our founder president Param Shraddheya Ma Radha Devi Ji Goenka, President of our institution's Innovation Council and Bharatiya Seva Sadan, Honorable Mr. Giriraj Ji Goenka sir, Honorable Principal Dr. Charushila Malu Madam, Vice Principal Honorable Dr. Ambadas Ji Pandey sir, the most important thing, today's our resource person Honorable Dr. Manjeet Kaur Madam, all the faculty members, research scholars, and dear students, I welcome you in the webinar on innovation or prototype validation, converting innovation into a startup. As we all know that innovation and creativity is a need of an hour. We all have these qualities, just we have to give it proper direction so that we can convert our innovation into a startup. So that's why that is the purpose. So without getting much more time, it's immense pleasure for me to introduce today's our resource person, Dr. Manjeet Kaur Madam. She is a dedicated and experienced academician with zeal for research and providing quality education. Currently, respected madam is working as a professor at University Business School at Chandigarh University. She has 19 years of experience in the education sector. Her research interests revolve around fintech, sustainable finance, and social marketing, where she has contributed significantly. Her dedication to research is evident through an impressive portfolio of 43 research papers published in renowned international and national journals, including Scopus, ABDC, Web of Science, and UGC Index journals. Beyond her research accomplishment, Madam Madam's passion for innovation and entrepreneurship development shines through. She actively engaged in fostering innovation and entrepreneurial spirit among her students and colleagues. This dedication has also led her to earn the title of Innovation Ambassador by the Ministry of Education, further highlighting her influential role in promoting educational advancement. She has presented many papers in international, national conferences and seminars. Madam has two books to her credit as well. She has 5 patents to her credit. She is entrusted with editorial responsibilities for several esteemed journals, including those indexed by ABDC and Scopus. As a reviewer, she plays a vital role in maintaining the quality and rigor of academic publications. She has acted as a resource person in many seminars and workshops. She has also received International Researcher Award 2021 by International Institute of Organized Research. So with this, the great academician, uh, Dr. Manjeet Kaur, Madam, I welcome you once again. I request Dr. Ambadas Ji Pandey, sir, the Vice Principal of our institute, please say welcome, Madam, some with your insights.
Hello.
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Madam, good afternoon, madam.
Good afternoon, sir.
Family. And thank you, madam, for your kind consent. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir. You're welcome.
So I request Dr. Manjeet Kaur, Madam, please proceed for further session. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rupa. Thank you for your kind words. And first of all, I would like to thank uh, Shrimati Radha Devi Goenka College for Women, Akola, for inviting me for this lecture. I would like to thank the management, principal, and Rupa ma'am for giving me this opportunity. And I hope all the students, the faculty, those who are present, they will learn something out of this session. So now, without wasting any time, I'm starting. I'm sharing my screen. We will start with this. I hope it is visible.
Yes.
Okay. Is it visible now also?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I welcome you all for this special session. So as per innovation calendar, so this is an important topic that all innovators in all innovation institutes uh, we, we have to discuss this topic, because for innovation, for startups, this is very important. So today's topic is innovation or prototype validation, converting innovation into a startup. So, first of all, I would like to start with, because here what we are trying to do, what we are discussing here, into a startup, right? So, first of all, what is innovation? Innovation is basically thinking out of the box. Innovation is something that is related to creativity. But there is you can say, thin line between creativity and innovation. Creativity is thinking unique, thinking different. Innovation is also thinking unique and different, but the difference is innovation is the action part. Creativity is only thinking part, but innovation is action part. Many a times, many students, anyone, any person, uh, usually, uh, in your life, at some point of your life, you must have come across some new idea, right? But that idea, just it was there in your mind only. If you did not apply that idea, then it is not innovation. So innovation is basically application part. Innovation is like doing something new, thinking out of the box, and then after that, that working for that, making possible, believing in your own innovation, believing in your creation, and making sure that it becomes an actual product or a business model. So it means converting that innovation into a startup. So this is our topic about how we can convert our innovation into a startup. Now, first of all, whenever we are thinking about that our innovation would be converted into a startup, there are certain steps. First of all, the most important is business model canvas. So, what is basically this business model canvas? Business model canvas. It's a very instrumental or important tool for all those who have done some innovation and who want to convert into a startup. So this is a very important tool. Business model canvas. It's a strategic management tool to quickly and easily define and communicate a business idea or concept. See, if we have an innovation, some new idea, how we can convert it into a startup. So first of all, for converting it into a startup, we should have a business plan. We should have a business plan. Everything should be structured. Everything should be pre-planned, right? So similarly, in this situation, mostly the startups, they go to their funding agencies, they go to venture capitalists, or they go to banks, or they do crowdfunding. So for raising the funds, they need to have a proper business plan. So everything should be clear. So there should be a proper pitch, and proper pitching they can only do when they have a business plan. Moreover, even if they have their own funds, so again, if they want to convert it into their innovation into startup, they need to have a proper business model. So without a proper business model, they cannot succeed. So the first step in converting in innovation into business model is to have a into a startup, is to have a business model canvas. So I hope it is visible on your screen. This is how a business model canvas looks like.
Ma'am, I think your slides are not visible. You can see.
Okay,
Yes, now.
okay, fine. Just let me maximize it. All right. So this is the business model canvas. So in business model canvas, different components are key partners, key activities, key resources, value propositions, customer relationships, channels, customer segments, cost structure, revenue streams. So all this should be decided in advance. So let us discuss them one by one. I'm just trying to maximize it so that everyone is able to see it. First of all, every business cannot work in isolation. It needs its channel partners, it needs its wholesalers, it must have its logistics, it must have logistic partners, it must have its vendors. So the first component that should be defined and put in this business canvas model is the key partners. So first of all, they need to decide who are the key partners, who are going to be the key partners in the business, and who are our key suppliers, which suppliers are very important, the vendors which are very important to us, and which key resources are we acquiring from partners. So is there any key resource or any partner or any wholesaler or supplier which we are taking away from our competitors, right? And which key activities do partners perform? So here in key partners, we need to tell which all are key partners and what different activities they will be doing. For example, we will list here our key partners, then we will list that this will provide us raw materials, so and so will take care of our logistics, right? So it is very important to define it. The next component of business model is key activities. So we need to define, this is very important, that what exactly our business is going to be. Because business, the startup, it has to be focused. It needs to be focused, and it should not, because there are so once person starts business, so many new ideas come, so many people come, okay, you are doing this, you should also do this, so and so. So one should be focused. So that is why it is very important that it should be defined in initially only, that what all key activities should be uh, the business, the startup is going to do. So, for example, what will be the key activities to our value proposition required? So, if whenever a business starts, so they have some value proposition. What exactly is their main business? For example, a business is starting and they want to give, for example, they are providing for example, they are providing some important component of laptops. Let's take an example. So that is their unique, and they are providing some component of laptop which increases the life of laptop. So this is their unique business proposition, that their component, it increases the life of the laptop. So this is their main activity. So they have to what key activities are related to our value proposition, right? And then they have to define what will be the distribution channel. It is very important to define who all will be the distribution channels, and it is also very important who will be the distribution channel partners and customer relationship, uh, how they are going to make sure that customer relationship is good, that they are going to take care of their customers. Revenue streams, what will be the different revenue stream, what will be the sources of revenue for the business, it should be defined. And different categories in key activities will be about production, problem solving, platform networking. This is an example of different categories in key activities. And then important is another component in a business canvas model is about value proposition. So I just mentioned the value proposition in our key activities. So what is basically value proposition? Value proposition is basically what actual value do we deliver to the customer, So when we are doing any business, when we are selling any product or service, we are not selling any product or service actually. We are selling the value to the customer. The value to the customer, what benefit the customer will get, what how we are going to enhance the quality of life of the customer, right? So that every product or service is supposed to add some value. Every product or service have some value for the customer. So here in value proposition we need to define what value do we deliver to the customer, and which one of our customers problem are we helping to solve. So basically our, see, whenever in that innovation is successful, which will solve some problem. Innovation is only successful if we identify the pain area, what all problems the people, the customer are facing, and then providing some solution for them, right? So in value proposition, we have to ask what our customers' problem are and how we are solving that problem. Okay, and then we also have to ask what bundles of products and services are we offering to each customer segment. This also need to be defined in this business model canvas. We need to define what bundles of products and services we have to offer to each customer segment, and which customer needs we are satisfying. So these are all questions. This will answer our value proposition question, right? So in value, it means what we are trying to find. We are trying to find the newness of our product or service, its performance, and how we are going to customize it, and how it will do the work, its design. This value proposition can be it can be related to newness, performance, customization, getting the job done, design, brand, price, cost reduction, or risk reduction, accessibility or convenience. Any of these can be the value proposition. Then another, we have discussed these three. Then another key component of business model is our customer segments. These are our customer segments. This is also very important to answer when we are deciding our business model canvas. We are preparing that we need to ask for whom are we creating value. We are creating value, and for whom we are creating this value. Who are our most important customers? See, again, customers, everyone cannot be our customer. So it has to be like we need to first understand which all are our targeted customers, and among them also which are the most important, from which where we are going to get more revenue, right? So here we have to see, we can describe the customer segment on basis of either we can go for mass market, it means we can market it to everyone, or we can go for niche marketing, it means we can target only a very small group of people who are not catered to usually, or segmented some particular segment, or we can diversify it. So here we need to define customer segments. Now, related to customer segment is our next component of business canvas model, that is customer relationship. So customer in, see, nowadays customer is the king. So customer, if customer is happy, then only they will purchase our goods and services, and we will get revenue. And it is very important. Customers are important because now customers, they have got lot of choices. They are not dependent on us only. They have a variety of choices from where they can choose. So it is very important to retain those customers. And for retaining those customers, it is very important to look after their queries. We should know, we should try to enhance their satisfaction that by giving them prompt replies, by solving their queries on time. So for enhancing the customer relationship in our business model canvas, we should define what type of relationship does each of our customer segments expect us to establish and maintain with them. Like, what are the expectations that customers from us, that we need to define here. And we also need to define which ones have we established among these relationships that our customer expect from us. So what all, which all we have already established, and how are they integrated with the rest of our business model, and how costly are they. We need to answer these questions. So for example, we can how we can enhance our customer relationship. We can enhance our customer relationship by having personal assistant, by getting dedicated personal assistance, by self service, augmented services, communities, co-creation. So this is how we will go with customer relationships. Then other important is then other important component of business canvas model is, that is channels, our channel partners. Channel partners are also important because, let me just focus on channels. Channels, what are channels is basically logistics is always important. So here we also need to define through which channels do our customer segments want to be reached. Do they want that our goods or services should be available on brick and mortar shops, that is traditional shops, or do they want to buy it from online apps? So this needs to be defined. And we also need to define how are we reaching them now, how are our channels integrated, which ones work best, which ones are most cost effective, how are we integrating them with customer routines. So this we need to define in our business canvas model about our channel partners, about our how about distribution and logistics. Okay. So here we need to understand, we need to be understand how do we raise awareness about our company's product and services. We need to work on how do we help customers evaluate our organization value proposition. We need to understand how do we allow customers to purchase specific products and services, and how do we deliver a value proposition to customers, and how do we provide post purchase customer uh, solutions. So basically, this is about business model canvas. This is our business model canvas. So we need to prepare this business model canvas before we try to convert our innovation into a startup. So this is very important. So along with this business model canvas, another important aspect is that we should do SWOT analysis. Whenever we are starting the business, we need to do SWOT analysis. What is basically SWOT analysis? SWOT analysis is analysis of internal and external factors which will affect our startup. So SWOT analysis full form is of SWOT is strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So strengths and weaknesses, we have to look in our own startup. What will be the strengths and weaknesses of of our startup. So what unique USP, what unique we are doing, that will be our strength. Our strength can be our knowledge, or our unique idea, our innovation is our strength, or in some cases our team, the skills, or strengths can be our finances, can be our strength, our experience in the market can be strength. So the list can be long. And the weaknesses, we also, as a the startup also needs to understand their weaknesses. For example, their weakness can be they do not have enough funding. Their weakness can be, for example, if they are not having enough technology, right? So at this stage, before they convert their innovation into startup, they need to do a proper SWOT analysis. They need to understand their strengths and weaknesses, right? And they need to understand in the environment, external environment, what opportunities and threats are there. They need to study the market, the business environment, and see what all opportunities are there. For example, the opportunity nowadays, the opportunity, one of the opportunity, for example, there is everything is can be done on cloud. We can have any business and we can sell it online. That is the opportunity. This is the opportunity that the only cost is we do not have to need to have a, for example, a shop, or we need to incur cost on it initially we can go start our business through this cloud only. This is just an example. So there can be other opportunities also. For example, there, for example, government is if government is giving some special, you can say rebates to a particular sector, this particular sector. So that can be opportunity. Then threats. We need to understand what all threats are there. So in threats, we have, for example, example of threat can be there are chances of in prices of the raw material or entry of competitors. So it is very important before we start innovation into startup, we need to do proper SWOT analysis, and we before we launch it, we need to have a minimum viable product. In product development, if you are having a product development, we need to work on minimum viable project. Because see, our topic is on session on innovation and prototype validation, right? So prototype, when you're going ahead with we're converting our innovation into a startup, we also need to have a prototype validation. Here our focus is on that we are working, our business is about some product, we have made some new product, and we are now starting our startup. So when we are before launching the startup, we must have a prototype, or first of all we need to have a minimum viable product. What is the minimum viable product? Minimal viable product is a product with just enough features to satisfy early customers and to provide feedback for future development. So, most of you must have heard about prototype. So, prototype is a working model of the product, right? It's a small scale working model of the product, that is prototype. But is minimum viable product is it is you can say improvement in prototype. It is after prototype we have to make minimum viable product. Minimum viable product is basically it is somewhat close to the actual product what we're going to have finally, but it is minimum viable product is something which will have only those characteristics of the product. It's not a full-fledged product, but only important characteristics of the features of the product. That is minimum viable product. And why minimum viable product? It is important to have a minimum viable product before we go ahead with full-fledged production, because we need to understand whether the customer will accept it or not, and we need to get the feedback of the customers from the market, and so that we can make improvement and then launch the final product on big scale.
Feedback from
So basically, with a proper minimum viable product, you would be able to think big, but start small. Iterate fast. Iterate means make changes fast. Although our big long time plan is big, but when we start with minimum viable project, we will quickly get feedback about that product, and we can iterate. We can make changes fast, right? And build your product with less. This is important because if we start launch the product with big bang, so if it will fail, then we will incur huge losses. So it is always better to advance slowly. First, we will launch minimum viable product on basis of its feedback. We can launch then the main product, right? So it is always better to build product with less. And another why we use a minimum viable product, it's important because it can help us to test it with real users faster. If we launch a minimum viable product to the small market, test market, so we can get to test our product with actual customers, and it will also help us to because sometimes for final product procedure is lengthy, the process lengthy. So if we have our minimum viable product with few quantity, we can go sell it in the market, small market. So it means we can launch our product quickly if we have a minimum viable product. And pivot earlier, it means we can, by launching the product early, we can have the first mover advantage, right? So with a proper MVP, we would be able to think big, but start small, iterate fast, build your product with less, test your product with less users faster, go to market faster, and pivot earlier.
हाँ हाँ
And the features of a good MVP, the features of a good MVP is that a good MVP focuses on the user,
Institutions Innovation Council to understand we
reflects
have
tested user needs,
program prescribed program we have to conduct. तो अभी स्टूडेंट्स तो अवेलेबल नहीं है फिर ये ओपन
it reflects tested user needs, solves the core problem, has great feedback loops. So these all should be there in the minimum viable project. It should be focusing on the user, and it should have all the features which will help us in testing the product, and it should have those features which will solve the core problem, the main function it should do, and it will, and once we launch the minimum viable project, we should be able to take the uh, feedbacks. And a bad minimum viable project, these are the features of a bad minimum viable product. It is over complicated, or it is very simple, oversimplified, or it is over engineered, too many unnecessary features are added, or it is not engineered, very basic. Our bad minimum viable project is also not aligned with user needs, and it does not enable user feedback loops. Even if we launch a MVP, we are not able to get the feedback. So that is a bad MVP. I'm again repeating the good MVP. It focuses on the user, reflects tested user needs, solves the core problem, has great feedback loops, and a bad MVP, it is overcomplicated or oversimplified, is over engineered or not engineered, is not aligned with user needs, and does not enable user feedback loops. Now, that was about MVP. Now, talking about prototype. What is prototype? Prototype is basically, it is a mini model. Prototype help us to understand uh, our product, how it will look, or how it will give that gives us an idea about the dimensions of the product. So prototype is different from minimum viable product, because minimum viable product is the working model. It is almost similar like a product, but having few features. On the other hand, prototype can be even a wide frame. It can be even a small miniature model, right? So basically, prototype is only there to just get a give an idea how it will look, it will look with all its features. That is a prototype. And prototype can be static prototype, it can be clickable prototype, it can be functional prototype. So, different types of products we have: static prototype, clickable prototype, and functional prototype. What is static prototype? Static prototype, it is something which will just give us an idea how it will look. For example, there can be certain products which wide frames can be used to show how it will look. For example, the model of an aeroplane. It can be showed with help of a wireframe. A small model can be made with the help of wireframe. It's an example of static prototype. Then there is clickable prototype. Clickable prototype is it is like it does not have, it is clickable prototype, it looks just like the actual product, but it is not serviceable. Then we have functional prototypes. Functional prototypes are like, these are almost like minimum viable product. So they can look realistic, but they are realistic, but they have few features of that actual product. So these are three main types of prototype: static prototype, clickable prototype, and functional prototype. And now why we do prototyping? Prototyping is done to get a realistic functional in the product really fast. We need to know how really the product will look, and it will also help us to get feedback of certain users or stakeholders. Know which they can tell us its shape, its dimensions, about its features. They can give feedback, and this prototype also help us in testing some of the aspects of the product, like which are very costly to implement. And it tests certain technologies or experiences which may be new to end users, for example voice driven interactions. So these prototypes, they help in getting an idea. Now the question arises, we have now discussed about prototype and MVP. Now the question arises, what is basically the difference between prototype and MVP? So, first of all, the difference is on basis of scope. A prototype is something that you can put very little time and effort into. As I told you, prototype is something very basic, but MVP is somewhat close to product. Prototype is something that you can put very little time and effort into, and the idea is to come up with a variety of prototypes and be able to change, adapt, and throw away ideas quickly. And whereas with an MVP, you have picked an idea and you're rolling with it. So it means prototyping is there, we're just testing different ideas. But MVP is that you're sure you're going to go ahead with this product. You're just trying to get feedback, right? So even if you get feedback, you're going to make few changes in it. So here with MVP, minimum viable project, you have picked an idea, rolling with it, which means putting in a little more effort. You're likely to use more resources and have more people involved. Now, the difference between prototype and MVP commitment is that once you have invested time and resources into a minimum viable project, you are less likely to completely scrap it. So while the whole concept of minimum viable project is based on the ability to be cost effective and make rapid changes, that is why we have made this minimum viable product, because we want to make it cost effective and make quick changes in it. And with prototype, it can be easy. Um, easily we can make changes. If one prototype is not good enough, we can easily change it to other, because not much effort and cost is there. Although but complex prototypes, they have some resources, so but still, as compared to MVP, less time and cost is involved, so we are more committed towards minimum viable product as compared to prototype. And audience wise, the difference is prototypes are mostly internal. They are for internal purposes and mainly intended for teams or others in company. So at most, you will give them to the press to create a bit of buzz, or use them for crowdfunding purposes. Prototypes are for our own purposes within the company, but they are not intended for target market. On the other hand, minimum viable product is basically intended for the target market. Minimum viable product is launched in a small portion of the target market to get feedback about it, right? So the difference between a prototype and minimum viable product audience wise is that for prototype the audience is within the company, but for minimum viable product even external or the actual market we test that minimum viable product. So this is basically the process how we go from problem to a prototype and minimum viable product. So as I already told that our innovation is always based, it should be based on some problem, solving some problem. So the first is we need to understand the problem statement, who our users are involved. We need to understand the stakeholders. We should do market scan. We should understand who all are our possible competitors and any failed attempts if there are, and idea. So idea is the problem we have identified. Now the idea to solve that problem. Idea can be one page ideas or to have a new startup. Then concept. Concept is means now we are trying to problem. We know the problem. Now we are trying. We have the idea to solve the problem. Now the concept of how we solve the problem, the solution, and who all are going to use this. What all product, the design of the product will be there. What technology or architecture will we be using. Feasibility and cost estimates. Then we have to make prototype. Prototype gives us, you can say, the idea about how this product will look like. It should look realistic and it will give the technical description, right? Then minimum viable product. Minimum viable product is the product with having those all the required features. It will help us in getting us the feedback about the product. It will help us in improving the product. It helps in designing the product. So this is the learning process via prototyping, experimentation, and feedback loops. So this is how we move from a innovation to startup. So any questions?
आवाज नहीं करना है इनको सर ये इनको बोलो ना मैं बीच में थोड़ी ना बोलूँगी हाँ सुनो लैब के इंचार्ज मैं बार बार थोड़ी ना बोलूँगी So I request all the participants, if you have any query, any questions, you can ask to madam. I think, ma'am, there is no question. Right, dear participants? I think you don't have any questions. It has two meanings. You understood the whole thing very nicely, or you did not understand anything. I think there is no question. So thank you so much, madam, for sharing your valuable insights on innovation and how can this innovation convert into startup with the basic terms, business model, canvas, various steps, and most important thing, the minimum viable product, which is the heart of startup. So without getting much more time, I request Dr. Nibha Upadhyay Madam, Head Department of Hindi, to propose the vote of thanks for this session. Thank you.
धन्यवाद रूपा मैडम। आज के इस ऑनलाइन वेबिनार में देश भर के जुड़े हुए सभी प्रतिभागियों का मैं स्वागत करती हूँ। बड़े हर्ष की बात है कि हमारे आईआईसी विभाग और हिंदी विभाग के संयुक्त विद्यमान से आज का यह वेबिनार आयोजित किया गया, जिसमें सर्वप्रथम मैं संस्था के संस्थापक अध्यक्ष माननीय दिलीप राज जी गोयन का, जो हमारे आईआईसी के भी अध्यक्ष हैं, उनके प्रति आयोजन समिति की ओर से मैं तहे दिल से धन्यवाद अदा करती हूँ। उन्हीं के मार्गदर्शन से महाविद्यालय निरंतर प्रगति पर है। इसके साथ ही आज के इस कार्यक्रम में प्रमुख अतिथि व वक्ता के रूप में जिन्होंने हमें मार्गदर्शन किया है, प्रोफेसर डॉक्टर मंजीत कौर, जिन्होंने इनोवेशन प्रोटोटाइप वैलिडेशन कन्वर्टिंग इनोवेशन इनटू ए स्टार्टअप इस विषय को बहुत ही सहज और सरल भाषा में हमारे विद्यार्थियों को, संशोधकों को और साथ ही जिनको व्यापार जगत में कुछ नया करना है, उन सभी को मार्गदर्शन किया। मैं आपके विशिष्ट मार्गदर्शन के प्रति कृतज्ञता ज्ञापित करती हूँ। तहे दिल से मैं आपका आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ। धन्यवाद मैडम। इसके साथ ही देश भर से जुड़े हुए सभी प्रतिभागियों के प्रति मैं तहे दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करती हूँ। आप सभी का बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। महाविद्यालय की प्राचार्य महोदया डॉक्टर चारुशीला रुमाले, उप प्राचार्य डॉक्टर अंबादास जी पांडे एवं इस आईआईसी के समन्वयक महाविद्यालय में डॉक्टर रूपा मैडम है, उनके प्रति भी मैं तहे दिल से आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ।
मैम
साथ ही
भेज दिए भर दो।
प्रत्यक्ष व अप्रत्यक्ष रूप से इस कार्यक्रम को सफल बनाने में जिन्होंने सहयोग किया है, विशेष रूप से तकनीकी समिति, उन सभी के प्रति मैं दिल से शुक्रिया अदा करती हूँ। और आयोजन समिति की ओर से यह वेबिनार यहाँ पर संपन्न हुआ ऐसा जाहिर करती हूँ। इसके साथ ही वेबिनार में उपस्थित सभी से निवेदन है कि चैट बॉक्स में आपको फीडबैक फॉर्म की लिंक दी गई है, आप फीडबैक फॉर्म अवश्य भरेंगे ऐसा विश्वास रखती हूँ। फीडबैक फॉर्म भरने के बाद ही आपको आपके ईमेल पर प्रमाण पत्र मिलेगा। आप सभी के प्रति पुनश्च धन्यवाद व आज का यह वेबिनार यहाँ संपन्न हुआ ऐसा जाहिर करती हूँ। धन्यवाद।
Thank you.
Once again, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank
So I request all the participants, please fill the feedback form. I have already shared the feedback form in chat box.